My name is Jukie Davie, but you can just call me Jukie. You guys, one of my favorite animals are, you guessed it, chimpanzees. They're so cool. And what do you know it? The story I'm going to tell to you today is all about chimps. Chimps are so cool. They're kind of like us, but hairier. And in my story, there's also sharks. Sharks are pretty cool too, but in my story, they're not very nice. Maybe a little silly, but not very nice. So, the story I'm going to read to you today is called Shark Trouble by Sam Lloyd, illustrated by Tickle. Far, far away, in the middle of the deep blue sea, were two small islands. On Banana Island, there lived a little chimp named George. And on Coconut Island, there lived a chimp named Jess. One day, George saw Jess and thought, "Whoa, she looks friendly." And Jess saw George and thought, "Hey, he looks nice." And they both thought about how much fun it would be to share a banana milkshake and a piece of coconut cake. That sounds good. Sounds delicious. But there was a problem. In the deep blue sea, between the two islands, there were sharks!
Yummy! Yummy! Food for the tummy!
Don't worry! Shouted George to Jess.
I have a plan! I'll make some wings from the leaves of my banana tree and fly across to visit you.
George flapped and flapped his new wings. He jumped up and down, but he couldn't fly.
Yummy! Yummy! Food in the tummy!
The shark sang, snapping at George's little chimp toes. "I've got an idea!" shouted Jess to George excitedly. "I'll tunnel deep under the sea and come to visit you." Jess dug and dug, but the sharks heard the digging noise.
Yummy! Yummy! Food in the tummy!
The sharks sang as they smashed and bashed through the tunnel until it flooded.
Never mind,
Called George.
I've got another idea!
Jess watched as George tied slippery banana peels to his hands and feet and started to ski surf across the water. Jess knew that this was the silliest idea so far. But before she could warn George, he fell in.
Yummy! Yummy! Food in the tummy!
George swam faster and faster. The sharks got closer and closer. George made it back to Banana Island just in time. My goodness. That was a close one, called Jess. Jess soon thought of a brilliant plan. "This will scare the sharks away," she shouted to George. With a mighty roar, she jumped out from behind the tree, waving her arms around. Ah! But the sharks were not in the least bit afraid. They found the crabby coconut costume very funny and laughed until their bellies ached.
Yummy! Yummy! Food in my tummy!
This is no good, thought the little chimps. We've tried every idea in our heads. We need to think of something new if we're ever going to share milkshakes and cake. They both climbed up their trees. A very good place to go when you need to think. The chimps climbed higher and higher, and the trees began to bend. The higher they climbed, the more the trees bent and bent. Until, oh no, we'll be eaten for sure! Then something amazing happened. Their treetops met and tangled tightly together to form a big, leafy knot. Hooray! We're saved! Cried George and Jess high above the horrible, hungry sharks. And they were together. Hi, George!
Hello, Jess!
To celebrate their new friendship, George and Jess had a party with music and dancing. And of course, lots of banana milkshakes and coconut cake. The end.
Yummy, yummy. Food in my tummy. Oh, tummy, food in my tummy, tummy. Yep, there's food, there's gonna be food. Oh, yummy food. Yes, yummy, yummy food. Yes, yummy, yummy food, yummy food. Yummy food, oh, yummy food, yummy food, yummy food.
Well, I hope you liked your story today. Those chimps and those sharks were very silly, weren't they? I'm glad Jess and George were able to meet up with each other. It's always so much more fun when you have a buddy on your side to share it with. Thank you all for joining me today. I will see you next time when it's time to tell a tale. Goodbye, everyone!
Yummy food, oh, yummy food, yummy food, yummy food. Yummy food, yummy food. Yummy food, yummy food, yummy food, 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 yummy food, yummy food, yummy food, 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 yummy food, yummy food, yummy food, yummy